What does it mean to be a gatekeeper of mathematics? To answer that question, we have to define what the gate is. So I would say it's one of two possibilities. Keeping students away from their dreams, their goals, their jobs, their careers, or the gate something more. Maybe it's not just math, but the gate is actually us stopping students from learning math. Maybe it's us stopping students from having fun, from being engaged, from wanting to do it. I think if you take care of that latter problem, you're going to take care of the former one. Students' dreams can then be achieved. So, what is our goal? What is our role as teachers or as gatekeepers in the education system? The first thing is to provide an equitable environment. We need to be able to provide math to everybody. Everybody has the same chance to learn it. Everybody has the same possibility, the same potential. We just have to do it. It's all about the equity, but not just. So how do we do it? How do we teach? It starts off in many different forms, but really we have to love what we're doing. We have to love the education system, we have to love our students, we have to love learning, and most of all, we have to love mathematics. Because if we don't love our job, why are we teaching it? Being miserable isn't going to help in the classroom. There's plenty of teachers like that already. There's teachers out there that are just looking to get their paychecks. They don't really care about the students. They let them fall behind the crack. It happens. It's out there. We've all had teachers like that. The majority of us had teachers like that. The majority of teachers have been like that, at least in my experience. It's not exactly a good one, but it happens. So what do we have to do? We have to care now. We might not be able to change what they're doing, but we can change. Some of us are new teachers, some of us are old teachers, it doesn't matter. Change can happen at any time. Anybody can do it, and that's what needs to be done. We need to start caring about our students. If we can make that change, then there's a possibility that that gate's gone. Then do we even have to be gatekeepers anymore? So how do we teach those kids? The problems are that the old ways were thought to be aptitude-based. If you were good at math, you were good at math, period. If you weren't good at it, you weren't good at it. You were born with it. It's kind of like in your genes. Math is a genetic trait. It seems kind of funny if you ask me. Genetic traits may be height or eye color or hair color, but not learning math. People learn in many different ways. There are many forms of intelligences, but everybody can learn it. You just have to change the way you're doing it. We take these different learning abilities that these students have, and we take these different ways to teach it, and everyone's going to do it. You know, if we work hard and don't give up on students, they're going to learn. I understand that some people have classrooms of 30 or 40 or even 50 in the really large districts, and that a couple might fall through the cracks, but it doesn't mean you forget about them. There's after school help, there's the next year even. You can work with everybody. You use your different ways to approach that problem, and eventually they will get it. You just have to challenge them, make them think they're able to. So how do we do that? How do we challenge kids? It's a tough question. You have to find out what they like. You have to be able to be wrong. Think about that. Think about how many teachers you've had where you approach them with a problem. Say that you found a different solution, or it doesn't even have to be math. It can be English class, it can be a science class, whatever. You found something that they didn't say was correct. And all of a sudden you're questioning things. You're asking questions, problem-solving questions even, higher levels of thinking. You're trying to understand what your teacher may have got wrong. And the teacher stops you. And the teacher says, no, you're wrong, period. They don't give a reason why. They don't have to. They're the teacher. They're right, you're wrong. The book says that they're right, so why not? You know, that's the wrong way to approach things. People can be wrong. Math proofs can be wrong. There's proofs disproving math proofs all the time. If we do this to the kids, if a student approaches us with a problem with something that we taught them, and we don't try to explain and work through them, then what are we going to do? We're going to alienate them. They're going to start to hate math. They're going to start to hate whatever topic they're in. It's human nature in a way. You get put down enough and you're not going to like it anymore. So we have to go about problem solving. We have to say, well, why do you think this? And what is evidence that you have to support it? It doesn't have to be those words exactly. It could be a more layman term, but still, that's what we're looking for. And then we can explain to them why we're right. Most of the time, we probably will be right. We are the teachers, but it doesn't mean all the time. And if they explain it thoroughly, then they're right, they're right. You know, help the kids learn. If they did make a mistake somewhere and you see it, teach them what the mistake was and how they came about it, not saying, no, you're wrong, look here, haha. So, how do we go about doing this? What's the best way? We could teach a problem-solving technique. We could stand there at the board like we normally do, writing problems and solving them as examples in class, but we could do it a little more. Sure, we can write problems out and say, hey, do you understand? Here, copy it off my chalkboard, go home, study it, and take a test. Or we could start to think aloud of what we're thinking. How do we problem solve? Does anyone actually know that anymore? I know when I'm doing problems, they just come to me now. It's common sense in a way. It's natural, because I've done so many of the same problem over and over again, I just see it. But what makes me see it? What are the things, the cogs turning in my mind that I don't think about anymore? If we start to think about those, realize what we do and start to verbalize it, start to actually communicate with the kids while we're doing a problem, step by step, what we think and how we do it, and we continue that same process over and over and over again in a repetitive pattern, eventually they're going to learn. They'll start to pick it up. Why? Because they're seeing it. And people learn from example. It's the same thing as if you were going to sit in class all day thinking that one student's going to do poorly. Oh, there's no chance they're going to learn math. They're going to go throughout your class not learning any math because you're not trying to help them. It doesn't matter that you're not directly saying you suck. What matters is the fact that you're kind of signaling them out in your mind and unintentionally doing it physically or tangibly. That's going to change the way they think about what they're doing. They're going to feel bad about themselves. If we use that same concept, the same principle of psychology in a way where we actually just start to show them, this is what we're thinking, you're not the only ones, and they'll start to pick it up, then they can learn. And the best part about that is when they get stuck now, you can go through, because they're using your problem-solving method, and you can find out where they got stuck. Have them show you step by step what they did, and they go, oh, well, maybe you could look at this. Or maybe you could think about this, or what is this supposed to do? It could be common sense questions that they didn't think to ask themselves.